if Cleveland gets some quarterback play, Cleveland's going to be dangerous again. If Deshaun Watson comes back anywhere close to where he was, they're going to be a major problem.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with us today on this Top Shelf Tuesday, as we do draft analysis, Captain for Life, Will Cotton. Will, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, now we're waiting for training camp.
Yes, we are. Team leader extraordinaire, Mike King. Mike, ready to talk about the Giants?
I mean, if we drafted J.J. McCarthy, you were never going to see me again. I was done with the NFL. I was gone. I said it for DJ, but this time I meant it.
And academic athletic consultant for the CK Save Project, George Ockett. George, did you enjoy the draft, or did you just skip all of it and looked at your phone?
Mike, I want you to laugh, dude, because Keith texted me during the draft when JJ was up. Now I was like, Mike's sleeping good tonight.
True story. All right, so fans, in segment 1, we're going to talk about the AFC. Segment 2, we're going to talk about the NFC. And in segment 3, at least he said it out loud, Commissioner Goodell dropping Easter eggs, as we like to say in the wrestling business. But first, all of this, fans, is strictly for entertainment purposes only, because I'm trying to be better next year. We're looking at each team and their initial projected win total, as well as the top pick or two. So we're going to start AFC North. Will, Baltimore Ravens, 11.5 is where they have it. They may change it. They got a B-plus draft grade, and they drafted Nate Wiggins as a cornerback, and they tell me he's a good fit. What are you thinking about the Ravens?
Man, the Ravens, they keep giving them the under, the 11.5. This team won 13 games last year, and everybody was hurt except Lamar. They now came through. They got DH, King Henry. Nate Wiggins is always a great, cornerback for them. I think sneakily they won Devontae Walker. He was a really good player for North Carolina. Real athletic, big dude. Go get the ball kind of guy. That's business as usual for the Ravens, man. They draft well. They bring in free agency well. They bring the coaches. Their whole process is good. I'm not surprised that they got a B+. I wonder where they got the B+ and not an A. To be honest with you.
All right. Well, so you'll know, fans, I looked at like 4 or 5 different draft grades, and we just do the average because we're teachers. Speaking of teachers, Mike, you've got Cincinnati. 10.5. They got a B for their draft, and Amarius Mims, offensive tackle, has the potential to be an early starter. Thoughts on Cincinnati?
And I feel like they won 9 last year. They were just injured. They still got 9. So I got to get 2 more wins. I can imagine that they're healthy. And I kind of like the over. Offensive lines, that's key because they've got the weapons. Now you just got to protect the quarterback, let him throw to best wide receiver core in football. So I'm thinking over.
Okay. George, Cleveland Browns, 8.5, got a B on their draft, drafted Michael Hall Jr., defensive tackle, and he's the best DT in the draft. What are you thinking about Cleveland?
I got to go over. They were at 10 last year, got in the playoffs, and we're making some noise. Same thing here. If Cleveland gets some quarterback play, Cleveland's going to be dangerous again. If Deshaun Watson comes back anywhere close to where he was, they're going to be a major problem. They picked up the D tackle, and that defense is rock solid as it is already. So have defense can travel. So it is what it is with them. If they get a 60-75% Deshaun Watson next year, they're a problem. I mean, they're a contender. So it is what it is.
All right. And selfishly, we're going to stay with George for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Shout out, Reggie. Pittsburgh, 7.5. They got a B for their draft. Troy Fatanu is a guard. He's a versatile blocker. He can play all 5 positions up front. George, do it for cheese, man.
I'm doing it for Cheese. Cheese, if y'all get any sense of quarterback play, you're back in the mix again too. If Russell Williams or the young boys show up, which you probably will be better than what you had, y'all are going to be worth dealing with. But if you don't, you're going to be, or if you get the subpar that you've had, because they have weapons on offense. So we'll see what happens as a lot of things with the NFL comes down to quarterback play. So we'll see what happens.
All right, we're going to go to the AFC South. Mike King, Houston Texans, 9.5. Plus, they got a B plus draft grade. Kamari Lassiter didn't test well in the pre-draft process, but they picked him anyway, and they got a B plus from most national rankings. What are you thinking about Houston?
When there's a line that kind of looks a little low, I think that's Vegas trying to convince you to take the over. So that's my main reason for picking the under. Because in theory they're young. They were 10 wins last year. They should be better. So why is it at 9.5? I feel like they know something that we don't. So I'd go under just on that. But I do think the future's bright in Houston.
All right. Will, I want you to take Indianapolis because of their quarterback. They're 8.5, got a B plus. Adonde Mitchell. The coach wanted to add more speed in the offseason, and apparently they did. What are you thinking about the Colts?
Colts are going to be basically what they did last year. They don't really have a player outside of their running back that can really move the needle, in my opinion. Quarterback is good. I think Richardson is a talent, but I think I watched him in college a lot, and there was a lot of minute things that he couldn't do. Very very. I think he's a great talent, but I think there's a little throws that he can't make. Slants that are very accurate. He always had a lot of interceptions, poor decision. But I also don't think that the Colts really addressed their offensive line. I mean, I know their offensive line is good, but one of the reasons why Richardson is is where he is because he wasn't protected. So I think we'll see more of the same thing. They'll get. I don't see them getting more than what 9 wins. About 7, 8 wins would be about good for them. So business as usual for them, just to kind of middle.
All right, George, we're going Jacksonville, 8.5, got a B ranking. Shout out to Tony Khan for living the gimmick because he wore the neck brace on TV. They got Brian Thomas Jr., and he has a deep threat ability. What are you thinking about the Jags?
That offensive line, I thought, is where they would address more the situation. It's a tough call with them because I think as long as Thor has time to throw the ball, they got enough weapons to get some things done. But it's all about, and they didn't do much to address that situation. So unless they did it in the later rounds, so we're gonna be. I want to believe in Jacksonville so bad, but it might be. We might be right where we are again, fighting for that last playoff spot to get in.
All right, Tennessee Titans, Mike, 6.5, B plus draft. J.C. Latham, offensive tackle, is the prototypical right tackle in a power run scheme as you got rid of your best running back. What are you thinking about Tennessee, sir?
I'm taking the under because last year they were 1-7 on the road. Now they get 9 road games, so that makes it a little harder. So they're a decent home team. Now they'll only get 8 home. I'm looking at the schedule. They get the NFC North, which had one of the best drafts as a division, I'd say, if not the best. So none of those are like easy. They get the AFC East, which in theory should be better if the Jets have a quarterback. I don't see a lot of wins here. I'm just looking at the schedule and the opponents. I don't see a lot of wins.
All right.
That'll be the team to go 13-3, right?
All right, we're gonna go AFC East. Buffalo Bills, 10.5, got a B on their draft. They got Keon Coleman at wide receiver, and I guess that's gonna be the replacement for Stephon Diggs. What are you thinking about Buffalo?
Buffalo is a bad organization that is fooling people that they're a good organization. They're not a good organization. They got very lucky Josh Allen. They got very lucky with Josh Allen. If Josh Allen became who he was, they're in position, but they've regressed every day, every year. They've not gotten better. They've not gotten better. I guess if you're going to add a receiver, you're basically, when you add a receiver, you're saying, okay, everything is good. We're just getting nice stuff. We're getting, like, if you're buying a car, it's like, oh, I'm getting a fender, or I'm gonna get some tints, or I get some rims. You're not really addressing the core, but I guess maybe adding another receiver will cut down interceptions, I guess. But I not much ado about nothing. Like, they're nothing. I think they're going to hype people up, make the playoff, but falter towards it.
All right, George, selfishly, Miami Dolphins, 9.5, B minus. They got Chop Robinson. Speedy coming off the edge will have an immediate value. I will let you be a proud pop.
Hey, love that kid, man. That's a great kid. QO doing it. But anyway, outside of that, they got in the second round, I think they even picked up another edge rusher. But it wasn't what they needed. I mean, let's I'm gonna be honest here. Hey, people, jump at me if you want to. Tua's only gonna take you but so far, and he's not gonna win you a big game. So, when your quarterback's arm is weak, this is what happens. So they're going to be muddled, right? I don't even know if they win the East next year, but it's going to be a muddled situation. The best thing that happened to them wasn't this draft. It was the trade of Stephon Diggs away from Buffalo. That was the best thing that happened to them. So, yeah.
Shout out to franchise and his phrase of noodle
They
on.
won the division. They easily won the division.
No, I said the best thing that happened to them is that Stephon got traded away from Buffalo because they might not win the division this year.
Yeah.
All right.
As long as they end up in the cold, that's what once it gets December, it's over for them.
Yeah, because when you can't throw time and crossing routes and time and out routes, you got a problem. So it is what it is.
Exactly.
All right. Mike, I'm going to give you the double dip, starting with the Patriots. 5.5, and they got an A- on their draft. Drake May going to the Patriots. He's got arm strength. He's a tough kid, mobile, all of that. What do you think about the Patriots?
And they were so bad last year. So I watched a lot of Patriot games hoping that they'd win so the Giants draft pick would get better. And they were just unwatchable. And quarterback play was part of it, but it was everything. The defense stunk. Like, everyone talks about the Belichick defense, and they gave up 360 points. Like, it wasn't like they were some dominant defense that just got unlucky that Mac Jones is terrible. 5.5 is kind of right. Like, that's tough. I'll go under, but boy, 55 wins, that's tough. But I'll go under. That's a hard one. I'd stay away.
Selfishly, I'm going to keep you with the Jets.
Yeah.
9.5. They got a B on their draft, and Olu Fashanu is the best left tackle in the draft. Aaron Rodgers is 107 years old. What are you thinking about the Jets?
Man, I hate the Jets so much, but
me too.
I still think I'd go. Again, I wouldn't put money on it, because if you're betting on the Jets, if you're betting on the Jets to do well, always expect reality to hit. But they've got extremely talented people on the team. Garrett Wilson is a potential superstar. They've got a very good defense and a great corner, and they added other weapons. Like, they have multiple weapons on offense now. If Aaron Rodgers is healthy, 10-7 seems like the floor. If he's not healthy, like we saw last year, anything could happen. But so I would go over, but for fun.
Okay. Well, we're going to take care of your teammate, Akil. Shout out Akil and the Springbrook football team. Denver Broncos, 5.5, got a B draft grade. Bo Nix played 61 college starts in his college career, the most in FBS history. Are they ready to take that next step, sir?
Oh, no disrespect, because I love the kid. That's my boy. And
he's 45.
And I want the Broncos to win.
He's 45. Bo Nix is 45. Okay.
Exactly. And he's
Okay.
not that, and he's not like
He's
lightning in a bottle. The guy's not special or anything like that.
He's already-
He played the most games in college.
He's-
That's not
don't-
like a.
He's already got bone fragments loose in his shoulder already, dude. Don't even
Bro.
whatever, man.
I'm not with him. I don't even mess with Knicks. I'm with you, George. I'm with you 100%. I'm not rocking with Denver. They got a trash room as a quarterback department. They have nobody in that joint, just a bunch of bums in that joint. They all gonna be looking at each other like, well, are you playing next week? I'll try. I'm gonna do my best. It's bad. It's ugly. Love my man to kill, but I'm gonna go with Mike King probably says. I'm gonna take that under on the 5.5. And I don't like Sean Payton either. And I don't like Sean Payton, so I hope it's under.
Keith,
Okay. Yes,
Keith,
sir.
what's the over under on Wilson sleeping with one of the teammates' mom?
Okay.
That's what I want to.
Mike, we're going to go with you with Kansas City.
Hot prop.
11.5. Kansas City got an A on their draft. And we're giving you Kansas City. Shout out to the late, great Ken Cudd. Xavier Worthy, wide receiver. 8 touchdowns on vertical and post routes. So Mahomes got somebody else to throw deep to. What are you thinking about Kansas City?
Oh, give me the under. Kansas City's they're the NFL team that's most like an NBA team. They know the regular season doesn't matter. They'll get in, they'll win. So they're not going to exert the effort to go 13, 14 wins. They don't care. They've proven it. They put them in the playoffs, and there's no one they're scared of playing. So give me the under. Because again, I don't think they have to try. They know their worth.
Okay.
Can we
Sure.
say cheating real quick with the Kansas City getting Xavier Worthy? That is, I mean, can we say cheating?
And the Bills gave him that pick.
I know.
Are you-
What the hell are they doing?
See,
Oh my God.
disguising as a good organization.
Okay.
They're terrible.
All right,
Oh.
George, you've got the Raiders 6.5. They got a B draft rankings, and they picked up Brock Bowers, which caused a little pause because they picked up Notre Dame tight end Michael Mayer last year. But we've also seen 2 tight end sets. You're qualified to talk about it. What do you think about the Raiders?
You have to have somebody that knows how to call 2 tight end set plays.
Oh.
So yeah, the big question in Vegas: who's quarterbacking this team? We're still going with my boy and going to end up the
Minshew?
same way. Yeah, same way we were. So
Okay.
I mean,
right.
you ain't breaking even with them, dude. So go right
Okay.
ahead.
Finally, Will, the Los Angeles Chargers, 8.5, B draft ranking, brand new head coach in Jim Harbaugh, and they got Joe Alt, best pass protector in the class. And let's just say the Chargers have underperformed in my eyes, but that's another story, strictly for entertainment purposes. Close this out. What do you think about the Chargers?
It's hard for me to get 9 wins when you get rid of both your best receivers in your past 2-3 years and your best running back, and I don't really see them bringing one in. So I don't know who's going to bring up the points. Now, obviously, I think they're drafting a year behind. I think this is a draft that they should have made an offensive tackle, but now they don't have anything. So it's like, hey, at least, Herbert's going to have 3 or 4 seconds to throw another interception. I mean, I don't think they're going to be that good. I mean, I don't think he's that. He throws a great ball, and I think that's what people get enamored with. But I don't think they're going to. I think they'll get 7, 8 wins, struggling and fight to get to the playoffs.
All right, so fans, when we get back, we'll take care of the NFC. We'll be right back on the Coaches Podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Folarin Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 2. Let's do a breakdown of the NFC post-draft. We'll start with the Chicago Bears. Shout out to Marie Cook. Mike King, Chicago Bears 8.5, got an A- on their draft. Caleb Williams, they tell me he's a great one. What do you think, sir?
I think Dunze is really, really good. 6'3". Caleb Williams, they already had some talent, but I look at this division and I see Detroit and Green Bay, who I think are both going to be very, very good. And I think 8.5 is just a tiny bit high this year. I think the Bears are going to kind of make more of their claim next year, year after. I think that's more when the window starts. So I'd go under on the 8.5, but not that much lower. I think they're going to be pretty good, much improved.
All right, George. Detroit Lions, 10.5, B draft grade. Teron Arnold gives the Lions a legit cornerback in a quarterback-driven league. What do you think, man, about the Detroit Lions?
I can go over, and I can go because I see them in Green Bay right about there, 11, 12 wins right there. They're going to be fighting. And it's what they needed because they couldn't cover me or Will on the outside last year. So that will be that's a good situation for them. This might be if I had to put a stamp on it, might be the toughest division in football. It's transforming into it because you got a lot of young teams with a lot of young talent, with a lot of young quarterbacks getting it done, except for Minnesota. We'll get to that.
Okay. Will, Green Bay, 9.5. They got a B draft grade. Jordan Morgan, offensive tackle. This kid is versatile, and you do need linemen. What are you thinking about Green Bay?
Softball pitch, man. These guys have a great organization right now. They're very young. They're hungry. They have early success, which builds on that. I think that's great, when you have early success. And you're just adding to protect your quarterback. I think they're confident. I think it was this was an easy slam dunk pick for them. I should be fighting. And I can honestly say 9.5 is a little low. I think they can get to 10, 11 and push Detroit.
I was about to say the same. Yep.
Division, so very excited time if you're in Green Bay, and a great time to be in Detroit. So like you guys said, I think this is going to be a tough division.
That's going to be the best. That's going to be the best game. Those are going to be the two best games this year. I do believe. I'm going to have to definitely won't miss those two games.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. And Mike, of course, you gave us a little chatter.
Why'd you give this to him? Why'd you give this to him? Because now he's excited as hell. Why'd you do this?
Minnesota Vikings, 6.5, B plus, J.J. McCarthy, and according to the scouts, he enters a quote near perfect situation with playmakers and all kinds of things. They think he's going to have early success. Mike, what do you think about Minnesota?
There's only one problem for the near perfect situation. That's J.J. McCarthy, because he sucks. God, I hate J.J. McCarthy. When the Giants were drafted and he was there, I was screaming when they picked Neighbors as loud as I would have in like Game 7 Stanley Cup overtime to win the cup. The idea of drafting this bum was so sad for me because, again, DJ, I think he's okay, but he shouldn't have been number 6. This guy, I don't even think he's okay. I saw him live. I saw him against Maryland, and he was not the best quarterback on the field, and Maryland's quarterback went undrafted. And if you told me I could take him undrafted versus this guy in the first round, I wouldn't. It's not even a question. J.J. McCarthy is a bum. In that game, he threw for like 140 yards. He was like 11 for 20-something. It's awful. And the team is loaded. So, yeah, he can have a near-perfect situation. They might win in spite of him, but I don't think they're going to win 7 times in spite of him. So I'm going to take the under. And I think the most interesting thing this year will be, does Justin Jefferson demand the trade when he sees what the next 4 years are going to look like?
Yeah, it's coming.
And the answer is yes.
All right.
Stop, Will. Look, Keith better never mute you and me ever again. Ever.
Don't let
That tirade right there. God. Oh.
Oh, man. Okay. George, speaking of tirades, the Atlanta Falcons, 9.5, got a C+. They drafted Michael Penix, and at first I paused, but then when they told the rationale of they're planning to be good, they're not going to be in a position to draft this high again because they're going to be good, I'm comfortable with it. I wouldn't have made the same decision. But hey, I'm a guy on a podcast. Shout out to Robert Abney. What do you think about the Falcons, sir?
All right, so they'll probably win the division. I can go on both sides of the fence here with them with the Penix draft. Do I think Penix was that good? Yeah, he might turn into a decent quarterback. But you got a 40-year-old with coming off a bum knee.
35. No
whatever.
no Kirk Cousins slander.
Yeah, they don't test for HGH in the NFL. But we're gonna leave that alone right now. Anyway, you don't know what you're getting back. They paid a king's ransom for him, and going in. And again, if you get Captain Kirk, he'll get you to the playoffs. You'll be able to see the concert from the outside. You might even get in the concert in the back row, but you ain't never getting to the stage. So, at some point in time, whether it's 2 years down the road, whether it's a year down the road, you're gonna have to look at Kurt and sit him down and let the young boy wobble, because Kurt, we all know it's a given fact. I don't care how much talent you put around him, and believe me, Atlanta has talent around him. He can't get you to the dance. You can't get to the dance. So you're gonna have to let somebody else spin. So I can see that, but they'll win the division. They'll win the division hands down.
Well, you got Carolina. I was a little mad at them last year, as you know. 4.5. They got a B- draft grade. Xavier Leggett is an explosive yards after catch wide receiver. So now you got a little something for your quarterback. What are you thinking about Carolina?
It's hard for me to take. They're gonna get 4.5. They're probably gonna make like 3 or 4 wins. The whole thing. Even that was their pick. Caleb Williams was supposed to be their pick. That could have been something. That could have been something that they could actually flip it or pick. The Justin Field thing if they want to do that. But they didn't do that. I don't see them getting any better. I mean, I honestly, I don't. There's not a player on that roster that would see on the ticket that I would care about. Bryce Young, I don't care. Who's going to be on the game? The game, little magazine joint. Nobody. There's not one player on that joint that you can even name outside of Bryce Johnson.
Spencer Rattler, baby. Go Spencer.
No. I'm just mad.
As we get ready for New Orleans, that is my kicker for New Orleans. George, I want you to take the Saints, because when Will said who's going to be on the cover, I got to the Saints and said, let's go, Spencer. George, New Orleans is 7.5, got a B+ rating. Talise Fugawa was the offensive tackle. He's a plug and play starter. What do you think, sir?
Look, man.
Go Spencer.
That division. Man. Yeah, he went. He left because he was no good in at Oklahoma, and went down to South Carolina and threw a bunch of interceptions. Anyway, that division, I can probably go right there with that bet with them, because that division is so bad. Carolina had a chance to protect Bryce Young and did not do it. I mean, they got him no protection on that line. So he's going to be running for his life again next year. And it was messed up because he's a damn good quarterback. There's nobody there except Atlanta that's worth even talking about. And as long as you have, Tampa Bay's defense is going to cover up your boy at quarterback for all year like they did last year. So, I mean, yeah, I'll go right there. They got weapons, and they could be a good team. with New Orleans if they had some decent quarterback play, because Carr has crashed his tires a long time ago, and we're not getting on it. So,
All right, Mike King, Tampa Bay, 7.5. B on the draft grade. Graham Barton, they got a center on day one that they can just go ahead and put in. What are you thinking about Tampa Bay, sir?
Well, center is the position that works the most in the first round, they say. Like it's the easiest hit of any position. I get the Panthers twice. I get Saints twice. I get the Falcons twice, who, no matter how much talent they've had, they've always just been kind of during this stretch. I get the Giants and Commanders. I get the Broncos. I just got to get 8 wins. I mean, then can I steal one or two from the other team? I'm taking the over, just not out of any trust in Tampa Bay, but just looking at the schedule and how bad some of these teams are they get to play. Can they find 8 wins? I think they can find 8 wins.
hey, who's their quarterback again?
Baker Mayfield.
I mean, that's a problem.
That's all. That's all I got to say.
Okay. George, we're in the NFC East, and we're going to start with you, America's team, 10.5. They got a B draft grade. They drafted Tyler Guyton, offensive lineman, and he can plug and play right now. What do you think about those Cowboys? How about them Cowboys?
It's going to be interesting because these plug and play, they'll keep the line together. They got most of the pieces coming back. The big question in Dallas is who's going to run the football. Last time I heard, they were close to a deal with come
on home, sir.
Come on home. Yeah, so it'll be a retread with that rerun. It's going to be interesting. We'll see what's up. The whole fight with Dak's contract and see what's going on. So, I can see them right there. I mean, with their schedule, and they're going to be right there. They're going to be a tough team to play. I don't know what the psyche of the Eagles locker room is going to look like, and Washington's going to be young. The Giants, well, and so they'll go ahead and they should come out of the division with at least 6 or 7 wins. So, yeah, I mean, they'll be right there in contention for the NFC East again.
All right. Mike King, Giants, 6.5. B+ draft ranking. Malik Neighbors caused you to pop, as we use wrestling verbiage. Led the country in receiving yards a game last year. How you feeling about the Giants?
Oh, give me the over. Not even thinking twice. Give me the over. When the Giants are good, they get after the quarterback. And this defensive line has Dexter Lawrence, has Brian Burns, has Kayvon Thibodeau. It's the most talent they've had on the defensive line in probably a decade, back when they were competing, for Super Bowls, and when they won one in 2011. Now they're not there yet. They got a lot other things to do. But on defense, there's a lot of talent. Neighbors, he's arguably, some people had him as the number 1 wide receiver. I would have went with Marvin Harrison Jr. just for the size and speed combination. But I mean, I watched his highlight tape, and when he puts a move on, he doesn't lose any speed. Like his acceleration is insane. And I enjoyed, my favorite part of watching his highlights was all the times that he was wide open looking for that ball from the Commanders quarterback, and then he had to kind of like slow down a little bit because throw wasn't great. That gave me hope there too. Even though I think Jaden Daniels will be pretty good. But Malik Neighbors, you can make a case he was top 3 talent in the draft. So you take top 3 talent at 6. It's all going to come down to the offensive line, though. They got John Runyon. They got Aaron Stinney. Those were the big quote-unquote upgrades. I don't think either are great, but I just want the offensive line to be average. The offensive line's average. Devin Singletary and Saquon Barkley, you look at the numbers, they're not much different in recent years. So is Saquon better? Yeah. But is he the millions and millions of dollars better? I don't know. We'll see. I got hope. If I drafted JJ, I wouldn't have hope. I got hope. Give me 7, 8 wins, and I'll take the over.
Mike, you're comfortable with your quarterback play?
I'm comfortable with not drafting a crappy quarterback just to do it. So I'm a believer in build the team and get the quarterback the next year. So like 49ers, they can put anyone at quarterback and they're fine. Build me the team. If we get Dion's kid, if we get the Georgia kid, I'll take whoever next year if we stink. I have a
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
They need a team.
Yeah, but you need a coach to do plug and play. But I'm gonna leave that alone for right now.
Oh, I like
All
that.
right.
I like it.
George, you're my athletic administrator here. The Philadelphia Eagles, 10.5. They got an A- draft. They got Quinyon Mitchell. He's a legit cornerback. He didn't allow a touchdown. Well, something's going on in that locker room. What are you thinking about the Eagles?
I'm going under. And if I'm GM, first thing I'm going to do is get a psychiatrist, and we're going to get in the locker room and have a conversation about what's going on.
Restorative circles.
Oh my God, it ain't no. I don't even know if it can be restored because everybody asked for out, but then they turn around and they signed AJ Brown back and they signed the other dude back. So what the hell is happening in that locker room? And that is the big question. I think with Philly, it all comes down to this. Can they get it right in the locker room? Because if they can, they're an 11+ win team. If they can't, they might win 6. They might win 8. And if I can tell you this much, it's going to be interesting to see how it starts off. Because if it starts off bad, they're going to turn on each other, and that place will implode. So by the time we hit that trade deadline, it might be fire sale in Philly before it's over and done with, because the coach is going to be gone and half that roster is going to be gone. So,
all right, and Cotton Man, you have the Washington Commanders, 6.5. They got an A on their draft. Jaden Daniels, 6'4". It's got the maneuverability, the accuracy, the decision making, and of course they've got the genius in Cliff Kingsbury. All the plays, baby. What are you thinking about the Washington Commanders?
When you have a new owner, when you have new everything, you want to get excited about things like that. Jaden Daniels was a great pick for them. It sparked a lot of people. I went out to watch the draft, and when he was drafted, everybody was cheering and clapping. But the biggest thing that Washington did was, forcing Dan Snyder out. When you get him out, you can actually now. I'm not going to say they're going to make the Super Bowl. I'm not going to say they'll make the playoffs or anything like that. But you can at least turn the ship around, and you're going the right direction now. They're 2-3 drafts away from being a good team. I think they had a good draft this year. I think they could easily get the 7 wins. I mean, you'll feel the energy. It's a little different than it's been in past year. But like you said, it comes down to quarterback play. I think the kid can ball. It helped that he played in the SEC, so he's going against those SEC corners and those SEC D linemen. So it's looking bright for Washington for the first time. It doesn't seem like they're just picking and moving forward with the standard stuff. Washington fans should be excited. I know I'm a little excited about it, but again, pushing it's about wins. And that's what it comes back to. So it's starting well. Let's go. I wish him health, and let's go, man. But I think they can get 7 wins.
All right.
Question, Coach.
Go ahead.
Question, Coach. Did Kingsbury learn how to protect the quarterback?
When you fell up the ladder, when you fell up the ladder, it really doesn't matter, because if he loses this job, somebody's going to hire him the next day. So with that, Mike, NFC West, Arizona Cardinals, 6.5, A- draft. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. Who's throwing to him? What do you think, Mike?
So Marvin Harrison Jr. is good. I mean, he won games for Ohio State by himself. Maryland was beating them, and it looked like, are we going to actually win this thing? And Marvin Harrison Jr. won the game by himself. And Maryland had the corners drafted. Like, Marvin Harrison Jr. is insane. But the rest of the roster is a 6-win roster, and you're telling me 6.5. So I'm gonna go under. I think that was the right pick for them. I think can the quarterback stay healthy? At least when you have a guy that you're throwing to that's 6'4" and runs as fast as Marvin Harrison Jr. You don't have to see over the offensive lineman. You can just close your eyes and throw it. because that's what's going to happen. Marvin Harrison's Jr.'s going to make a ton of catches, and he's going to be one of the most fun people in the NFL to watch. But you're going to watch him lose, at least for a couple years.
All right. George, Los Angeles Rams, 8.5, B+. They got Jared Verse, an edge rusher, and he's a day one starter. They also got Blake Corum, and they don't have a lot of good running backs. What do you think about the Rams?
I can go with that bet right there. Now, actually, I'm going over. The Rams put a lot of good young pieces in place. They even got the replacement for Aaron Donald, the defensive lineman from Florida State. So not saying that he's going to be Aaron Donald, but he's going to be solid. I really like the Rams draft. I like what they did. They're going to be worth seeing and worthwhile. You better look out for them. Big thing, you still got Nakua out there. I think Blake Corum's a great add-on. Long as they can keep my boy standing upright in the pocket, they're going to be tough, man. They'll be back in the playoffs again this year.
All right, Will, we're doing the teammate thing again for the new father, Fowler and Campbell. Congratulations to him and Sharita, the voice of the Odd Coaches podcast, on the birth of their baby girl. San Francisco, Will, 11.5. They got a B ranking on the draft. They got Ricky Pearsall, and he's got height, he's got speed, do the 50-50 balls, and I know they got some contracts coming up. What do you think about San Francisco, sir?
I just think it's a very interesting move because Ricky Pearsall, San Fran is in a position where they should be bringing guys who are ready to go. We don't have time for developing. We don't have time for waiting or learning or teaching. Like, let's go. Come on, let's run. And for them to remove a guy like Deebo Samuel or Ayuk, who are so vital to their season last year, to even say, okay, well, let's get rid of both of them or one, and then this kid is going to come over. It's hard for me to say that they're going to make them more so one dimension. So people are going to lean on CMC. I don't know if he's going to play 17 games like he did last year. Again, that's a thing that came in. He was always hurt. I think that's going to come out. It's hard for me I don't think they're going to get 11.5. I think they'll get to 10. I think they're going to be fighting with the Rams to get into win the division. But I think to me, it's very, very questionable where they made that draft. But, again, I'm a guy on the podcast, so shout out to my man Shaq and the family.
Hey, shout out. I'm going to tell you this. Tell Shaq he needs to pay attention to that locker room also. Yeah, because that's psyche. Because everybody blaming each other for that loss in the Super Bowl, and then you got retirements, people wanting to jump ship. That's going to be an interesting locker room.
Okay. Oh, and your boy Bosa, very interesting. He's very vocal about his political stances. With the presidential race coming up. Who knows what he could say? Who knows the locker, or Jordan, like you said, what he says with the locker room could turn things. So very interesting and very delicate locker room, like you said.
All right, Mike, close us out. Seattle Seahawks. No Pete Carroll. 7.5. Got an A- on their draft grade. Byron Murphy, the second best interior defender in this year's draft. What are you thinking, sir?
Give me the over on this one. They got quarterback, a running back, 3 receivers. Line's pretty good. And then on defense, Devin Witherspoon is insane. He's maybe potentially the best corner moving forward. At least one of the, when you think of young corners in that discussion. And this safeties are pretty good. They not a lot of weaknesses for Seattle. I know they had a bad end of the year, but you're giving me a losing record and I could still hit this bet. I'm taking the over. I'm not even going to think twice.
All right. So fans, when we get back in segment 3, Roger Goodell actually said it out loud, and I can't wait to get the response from our panelists. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student-athlete, academic, and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE Project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student-athletes. As student athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE project offers academic and athletic services to support student athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. He said it out loud. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is mulling a future with, wait for it, gentlemen, 18 regular season games, a President's Day weekend Super Bowl, and a significant increase in international games. Will, I'm going to start with you. How do you feel? Because they said it out loud. 18 games, 2 preseason games, Super Bowl weekend being President's Day weekend, and having more international games, but not an international division. Your thoughts, sir?
As a watcher, I love it, man. More football for us, more betting for us. Fantasy football gets even better. You know what I'm saying? And now we get a present day weekend, which actually now we don't have school or work on Monday after Super Bowl. I mean, NFL, look, they a lot of things, but they actually listen to have people been saying. It's been going for years. People say, man, we need the day off after the Super Bowl. Man, shouldn't the Super Bowl be on Saturday so people can recover on Sunday? I was one of those people last year, So I love it, man. I mean, I know the players are going to be upset, but how upset can you be when you're a millionaire? You have to play another game. I'm with it, man. More games, more watching. I love it. We have more podcasts to talk about. So let's do it. More football, baby. I'm with it.
George, what are you thinking, man? He said it out loud. Said it.
Smartest thing he ever did. I mean, if you want to talk about football, is a media monster. I mean, they are between all our major sports, they eclipse all of them. I mean, you could put the other 3, 4, however you count them in one arena, and they wouldn't get to football right now. And if this happens, we move to President's Day weekend, that might be one of the most massive moves ever, because the Super Bowl is already a national holiday. It's going to be. And then with this continuous movement over to Europe, he didn't announce the European League yet, but you wait till about 4 or 5 years and you'll see the G League of football over there in Europe. And I think a lot of it is coming. The UFL is even helping it out by having that going on because they're doing decent numbers. So, yeah, it's just a juggernaut that it's impervious to anything. Sex scandals, drug scandals, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. And we don't care. That's the other thing. I made the joke about PEDs. Who cares? Nobody cares. They just want them out there.
What about the storylines for players who have crimes and they can't travel?
Yeah,
they can't go to England or they can't go to Mexico.
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, imagine those things that come up. Those are going to be interesting.
And, the most interesting thing is I know that the protective caps got approved so they could wear them in game. I want to see if they actually let them wear them. That's the most interesting thing because
I don't think they want to wear.
Because I'm gonna tell you this right now, because we don't care about anything else. Just give us the football. I mean,
Pay me and give me the football. That's it.
Yeah,
I don't care about nothing else.
Rice is out street racing in Dallas, and we don't care. We just want. Is he gonna be able to play in the Super Bowl? That's it. We don't care. Okay.
Mike, the commissioner said it out loud. Go ahead and share your thoughts, man.
The President's Day weekend Super Bowl is the most needed thing there is because the day after the Super Bowl should be a holiday. That's 100% smartest thing you can do. 18 regular season games. If they're mulling the future, I want to know what the data was on injuries with the 17 regular season games because that should be public. Like, what's the negative that's coming from adding games? Because that was the whole thing, right? Like, football's a dangerous sport. We're going to play more games. So I want the NFL to be like, transparent with, okay, since we've gone from 16 to 17, we've lost 700 ACLs. Give the data so we know what we're talking about here. Because 18, once you go, you're never going back. You're never going to take money off the table. So
nobody wants to see how the sausage is made, Mike.
100%.
Nobody wants to see how they make the hot dogs. They just want to eat.
For international games, I'm fine with a few games, and I'm fine with the G League. You have a G League of international teams, but I don't want NFL teams in all over the world where I got to wake up at 2 a.m. for a game. Like that's where I'm going to draw the line. Keep the teams in a certain amount of time zones. I don't need Europe, and then you got to deal with the travel. I don't need that. I don't want that. You got 3 time zones to work with or 4 times. That's fine. But
Mike, you gotta love when the NFL plays in Europe and it's 9 a.m. and you're literally betting from 9 a.m. to midnight.
Think how many people are going to lose their homes because of that?
Mike,
in America.
Mike, hey, look, I hate to tell y'all, but we're gonna have a world champion here very soon. Very soon. That'll be very soon.
They already say it now.
I know. Hey,
world champion, Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, but I will say, Joe Burrow did say, "Listen, we'll go to 18 games. We need 2 bye weeks," which is smart.
Mm-hmm.
Which I give it to him, and it's working.
Can we get grass? Can we get grass fields? Or they're going to say that's too much?
I'll keep it real.
No,
the NFLPA, they don't do any of that stuff. I think they'll bargain it, and at the end of the day, they're going to lose it. They'll get something small. Like,
they'll increase the number of people on the roster.
Whatever.
They'll increase the number of people on the roster. Probably.
I tell you, if they increase the number of people on the roster and give them 2 bye weeks, I can see the 18 game schedule going ahead and working.
Yeah,
now,
that could work.
But I'm sorry for Mike. He might as well get his book together because it's going to be
clock.
The Barcelona Dragons and the rest of them are all coming back, and they're going to be. We're going to have the winner of the Euro League versus the winner of the US League for the World Championship. That's exactly how it's going to be.
The Berlin Fire.
Berlin Fire. Yep.
Applesauce. Alfalfa.
The Clay Mounts. Yeah, they're coming back too. They're all coming back. They're all coming back.
Well, on behalf of our Cavalcade of Stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and watching the iCoaches podcast, and we'll see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The iCoaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The iCoaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the iCoaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the iCoaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at iCoaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the iCoaches podcast.